Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome to The Last Lap, and in today's video we're going to be grading every off-season move for the NASCAR Cup Series. So before we hop into the video, just want to quickly remind you guys to hit that like button and subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it if you guys did that. And Matthew, my friend and co-host, is joining me as always, and it's been a hot minute since A, we've uploaded a video, and B, since we've sat down face to face via Zoom to talk about a video since probably November. So we just got a little bit of housekeeping things to clean up real quick. First of all, Matthew and I both just want to say thank you guys so much for all of the support on our Charlotte vlogs. We posted 5 videos. Each of them is over 1,000 views by now. I think the first one is over 5,000 views. And neither of us expected any kind of numbers like that for any of those videos. We just went down to Charlotte. We were like, might as well capture it on camera and upload it to YouTube, and it just popped off all those videos. So thank you guys so much for all of that support. And we also have an announcement at the end of this video that we're going to share with you guys. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. But yeah, that's all of the housekeeping stuff for now. Matthew, how are you doing after our long break that we had?
Well, I'm glad we're back on here. Like you said, first and foremost, thank you for all the support, especially with our Charlotte trip. I mean, those videos have, and I mean, in our channel standards, we're not really a big channel, so if those views will take it, it's amazing. So for anyone new that's tuned in, first and foremost, we are a NASCAR debate show here. We debate different NASCAR topics. We debate the races that happen, what our thoughts are of each race. We debate free agency news, just anything NASCAR related, and even some motorsports news here and there. We've actually known each other literally since 6th grade in middle school. Yeah, it's been that long. um, so yeah, that's a little backstory on both of us for anyone that's new. But before we get things started, what we do sometimes is wherever we get a new race or we get a new diecast, we like to show it off. So for me, I literally just got this yesterday. Kyle Busch's 2023 St. Louis win or Gateway win or that very long name, Worldwide Technology Raceway. His win from last year. Um, really love this race version. This is honestly one of my favorites right now in the collection. Yeah, I love the 3 cheese scheme with the bright what and the bright like what I would like to call fruity pebbles confetti basically. So much of that. So yeah, that is the newest in my collection, and yeah, let's get right to it.
You're not going to go over the other one? What's the other one
Oh,
that you...
my bad. And Jimmy himself here actually gave me this for Christmas. Kyle Busch's 2021 Texas win from the Xfinity Series in the Cool Twix scheme. And with that, I have all 5 of his 2021 Xfinity wins, aka his last 5 Xfinity wins. So, yeah. Now let's get right to it. Thanks.
There we go. Yeah, I was about to say, how could you forget the one I got you? But it's okay. It's been a while. It's been about a month, so I'll give you a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Um, I have 3 that I'm going to quickly show. I know we're taking a long time to get into the video, but really quick, I'm just going to use these 3. So for Christmas, I got this Brad Keselowski Fastenal number 6, and I'll try to get as much on the camera there for you guys. The chrome number right there. Had to finally get a Mustang next-gen car, so I got that one. Matthew was kind enough to get me one on my bucket list, the Chase Elliott throwback from 2020, the Jimmy Johnson throwback car right there. And then added a Jeff Gordon car to the collection as well. His 2012 Pocono win. Not too much damage or anything on it, just a pretty standard Jeff Gordon paint scheme, but that finally completes the Jeff Gordon collection that I've been trying to complete. Not all his race wins, because I'm not going back to 1996 or anything like that. Just from 2000 2007 to 2015. I finally got all of those raced versions. It's on the shelf down there. You guys probably can't see it right now, but finally got all my Jeff Gordon race wins that I want. Not all of them in general, but yeah, finally got all those. So that's a quick little diecast update for you guys. But let's finally go ahead and hop into this video. I guess we'll kind of go through a few of these at a time so we don't take forever. But there are a lot of silly season moves that were made over 2023 into 2024. And we are going to start with an Xfinity one really quick. SVG is going to be in the 97 for Colleague Racing, and AJ Allmendinger is going back to the Xfinity Series to race in the 16. So for these moves for SVG, I'd probably rate this. We're gonna do letters, by the way. I'll probably do I'll probably do a B plus because I feel like for SVG, it's good that he's not going straight into the Cup Series. He's going to be able to get some good oval experience for the Xfinity Series and be able to complete a whole season before just hopping straight into Cup. And then AJ Allmendinger, I think this is tough. I think I have to say like a A minus because in Cup, Colleague has been struggling, and Xfinity, when he raced there a few years ago, he was very competitive, even won on some ovals. So I think for AJ and his career, for his enjoyment, I think it's a good grade because he's able to compete for wins and championships compared to not really able to do that in the Cup Series. So that's what I'll rate those two real quick. Matthew, what are you going to quickly rate those two Colleague Racing moves?
Can you say SVG's full name? Can you
Shane
say
Van
it?
Gisbergen.
There you go.
Not,
I want
not,
to.
like Jeff Burton said.
So, with Shane Van Gisbergen going to the 97 Calling Racing Xfinity Series, which that's going to confuse a lot of people that don't watch NASCAR a lot because they literally made the 97 number the Trackhouse signature font. So that's going to confuse a lot of people. Like, is that a Trackhouse Xfinity car? But I think I'm going to give him an A minus on this. I think he's going into the right series, the Xfinity series, in which they have the Xfinity series out of all three NASCAR touring series, they run the most road courses in. And I think he's going to shine in all those road courses. And I think he's going to be driving pretty much one of the hardest cars in all three series. So he's going to get a lot of good experience from this season. Both Xfinity, he's going to make part-time Cup starts, of course. He's going to run an ARCA race at Daytona. That's also news there as well. So I'm going to give him an A minus. But AJ Allmendinger, I'm giving him a solid A because he is now officially, well, I like to call him a championship contender already. Because I mean, in 2021, he ran his first full time season in Xfinity, and he was in the championship four. 2022, he almost made the championship four, but he got knocked out in the round of eight. But he's still going to be a threat to win on the road courses, but he can also win on ovals in the Xfinity Series. He literally won Nashville Super Speedway in 2023 in the Xfinity Series. He's won at tracks like Atlanta, well, before the repave. He's won in Michigan and also Bristol, and the most chaotic finish that we've ever seen. um, so I'm going to give AJ Allmendinger a solid A because even though he's not in the Cup Series anymore, he's going to be a championship contender in the Xfinity Series. I feel like so yeah, that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see the two of them compete against each other on the road courses too. It's going to be interesting to see how quick SVG gets a hang of the Xfinity car
I
and see
I
if him.
I pray for the announcers when those two are battling for the lead on a road course that they get their names right.
Yeah, those are going to be Van Gisbergen and Allmendinger, two very long and complicated last names. But next up, we're going to move to Legacy Motor Club. So over the off season, they decided to switch to Toyota as a manufacturer, and we're going to rate that one real quick for you guys. And for me, I think this has to be an A plus. Legacy Motor Club moving to Toyota. Toyota has always been like not that many teams have been part of Toyota, and we see how successful the few Toyota teams are right now. And Legacy Motor Club becoming a part of that just adds to it. So I'm gonna give it an A plus, and I think we both probably have very high expectations for Legacy Motor Club next season. And following that, John Hunter Nemechek went from the Xfinity Series in the number 20 from Joe Gibbs Racing to the Legacy Motor Club number 42, which is now with Toyota, like I just said. And I gotta say, this is probably about. I gotta say, this is probably an A move for John Hunter Nemechek. He probably could have stayed in Xfinity with Joe Gibbs Racing and won more races and had another chance at a championship, but moving to Legacy Motor Club that's now partnered with Toyota, I think is a really good move for him. So I'm going to grade that one an A. So, Matthew, what are you going to grade these Legacy Motor Club moves over the offseason?
Well, for Legacy Motor Club, they have pretty much become the most interesting team in the Cup Series this off season. Of course, this past season they were terrible, and mostly because of Chevrolet basically stopped giving them all the support, and Eric Jones was still running very, very well for how the equipment was this past season. Of course, the 42 car was a joke for like more than the first half of the season, and then when Carson Hocevar started making the starts in that 42 car, that car looked very impressive with Eric Jones alongside Eric Jones. So there's a lot of high expectation going into the Legacy Motor Club. I expect them to have at least one of their cars in the playoffs. Um, so I'm going to give him A plus for that. And also today they just announced that Dollar Tree and Family Dollar are going to be sponsoring a lot of the races basically on all of two full-time cars and the 84 car for a couple races. So that was an absolute dub as well. And then John Hunter Nemechek, he's going to the 42 car full time. I'm going to give him a solid A for that. I feel like he's walking into a very good situation right now. Um, Going to a brand new Toyota team. This team is going to be A tier level in the Toyota pipeline, or the Toyota tier standards. Um, I'm looking forward to see how he does this coming season. This kid has so much talent, and I'm looking forward to see how he does. So I'm gonna give him a solid A.
All right, next up, we're going to talk Stewart Haas Racing. So the first move was Noah Gragson. It was announced that he will be replacing Eric Almirola in the number 10 car. And for this one, man, this one's kind of tough. I think for me, I honestly kind of have to give this a D move because he was in Junior Motorsports Equipment 2 years ago in the Xfinity Series and was winning races, and then goes to Legacy Motor Club. Doesn't really perform well there, and apparently over the off season there were some rumors that he could have potentially picked up an Xfinity ride somewhere, possibly with Joe Gibbs Racing. So in my opinion, I would have taken that opportunity in the Xfinity Series to kind of rebuild yourself and regain that confidence. But instead, he goes to a struggling Stewart Haas Racing team next year that honestly, none of their cars might not even make the playoffs next year, just based on how poor they were this year. So, yeah, I think I got to give Noah Gragson a D move. And then the other Stewart Haas Racing driver that was added was Josh Berry. He will be replacing Kevin Harvick. And kind of along with Noah Gragson, I'm not going to give Josh Berry a D. I'll give it a C minus. I'll kind of just go a little bit below average, pretty much for the same reason. Even though Josh Berry didn't perform too well in the Xfinity Series last year, I would almost consider this a downgrade moving to SHR in the Cup Series. But yeah, SHR has a lot to prove to me this season, which is why I'm not too fond of how high I'm grading these moves. But yeah, those are my opinions on those SHR moves. Matthew, what do you think about those ones?
Man, that is harsh on the Noah Gregson one, man. Man, it's a little harsh there. I'm not gonna go that. I'm not gonna rank that low of a grade in my opinion. I'm gonna give him just a solid C. Yes, he's walking into an organization that has been terrible the past couple of years. But this is still where we're just talking about with Legacy Motor Club, the A tier Toyota team. This is still an A tier 4 team, right aligned with Penske and RFK. They can still turn this organization around. I mean, we've seen it the whole offseason with how Stewart-Haas Racing has pretty much been telling everyone that they've been hearing all the haters, they've been hearing all the critics, which I hope they do well because that is going to backfire them so bad if by the first half of the season they're like below 20th in points. But I'm just going to give it a solid C. I mean, look, Noah Gragson is a very talented driver. I mean, he won 8+ races with Junior Motorsports. Unfortunately, he walked into a situation that just this past season, it just wasn't the right fit. Yeah, I mean, I know the Chevrolet wasn't giving Legacy Motor Club a lot of support, but I mean, Noah Gragson still made a lot of mistakes. So I'm just going to give it a solid C. Um, I'm hopefully Noah Gragson will cut back the mistakes, and we'll just see how he does. But as for Josh Berry, I'm going to give him a solid B here. I think this is definitely what Stewart-Haas Racing needs. They need that. While Josh Berry may not be a Cubs Series veteran, he is still a veteran when it comes to stock car racing. He's pretty much been the most well-known late model driver in like the past decade. And I think he's going to fit real well with guys like Ryan Preece, his teammate, who's pretty much grew up similar to Josh Berry, except modifieds. Chase Briscoe with his dirt experience. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna give him a solid B. I think this is definitely a great fit with the situation Stewart-Haas Racing is in. I think they need a veteran like driver to fill in what was a Hall of Fame seat, which was Kevin Harvick. So I'm gonna give him a B.
All right, next up we have two different drivers going to two different organizations. We're going to start off with Justin Haley going to Rick Ware Racing in the number 51. And this is an interesting one because Rick Ware Racing announced that they have a partnership or alliance with RFK now going into this year. So we're not really sure what to expect with Rick Ware Racing and Justin Haley specifically. For him, for this move, I think I gotta give it a. I'm gonna give it a C plus for him because he went from a team at Colleague that was struggling to another team in Rick Ware Racing that is struggling. But they do have that hope of the RFK Alliance, and that could bring a lot of hope to that team, that organization, and that driver. And Justin Haley is a very good driver, and with him being in a Ford and being good at super speedways, you never know. Justin Haley could win the Daytona 500 or at Talladega or Atlanta. He could win one of these races and punch his ticket to the playoffs because we know how good of a super speedway racer Justin Haley is. So that might be my bold prediction for 2024. I don't know. You guys have to wait and see for our video about that. But I mean, like Justin Haley, he brings a little bit of life to this Rick Ware Racing team, and they could step behind him and make some noise next year. So I'm gonna give that a C plus. And then Daniel Hemrick, he went to Colleague in the number 31. Basically, just switched over from Xfinity to Cup. And for Daniel Hemrick for this move, for him as a like just him in general, I'm probably going to just have to give it a C, just average, because he went from Xfinity, where he didn't do too much last year, to Cup, where he hasn't really done much in the past. He raced for RCR, I believe, in the 8 car for at least 1 year in the Cup Series and didn't do much there. So I'm going to have to give that a C. And for Colleague Racing in general, I'm going to have to give them like a D on this move because they could have went for a few different drivers to put in that 31 car, but they went with Daniel Hemrick, who has not really proved too much besides that one win and championship in the Xfinity Series at Phoenix. So for Kaulig Racing in general, I'm gonna have to give them a D because they probably could have found some other different drivers. But for Daniel Hemrick specifically, I'm gonna give it a C. So Matthew, what are you gonna rate these moves by Rick Rare Racing and Kaulig?
If you would have told me a couple years ago that a young driver like Justin Haley will sign with Rick Ware Racing, if you would have told me that a couple years ago, I would have said your career is over basically if you did that. But there's clearly something that Justin Haley sees with this still young organization that has pretty much been the bottom tier ever since its inception. He clearly sees the vision there that I guess us are not seeing. Of course, we know the RFK alliance. That's actually been going on since this past season. They had the RFK alliance in 2023 as well, but they're going to get a real good test of it with a driver like Justin Haley, I will say he's an underrated driver in my opinion. Yeah, he may not be the flashiest driver. Yeah, he might not be getting a lot of top tens, but he's going to stay out of trouble. I mean, he does a very good job of keeping the car clean. And of course, he's a very great super speedway racer. And we all know how RFK is on super speedways. So I got to give it a solid C, in my opinion. Um, yeah, I don't think he's going to light the world on fire. I'm not predicting that. But I mean, clearly he sees something with this organization that made him go there. But yeah, I'm going to give it a C. As for Daniel Hamrick, I'm giving it a D. I am not a fan of this move. Absolutely not. Not. They we've gone so many years with Daniel Hamrick in all three series. And he's only managed to win one race out of all three series. One. And of course it was in the most movie like finish that we have ever seen to win the championship. And and once again, he hasn't really done much since then. And he gets back in the Cup Series. I'm sorry, I gotta give it a D. And I think Kaulig Racing overall is just going to be going on a downward spiral this coming season. I think they're not going to be good at all, except for when AJ Allmendinger makes his starts, the road courses basically. Um, Other than that, I think they're on a downward spiral, especially when you have him full time, and then you're gonna have guys like I've heard Ty Dillon making part time starts, which oh man, don't get me started. But yeah, I gotta give it a D. I'm not a fan with this move at all.
All right, and the last two that we're gonna talk about real quick involve Spire Motorsports. The first one is Zane Smith. He will be piloting the number 71 car for Spire, but he is technically signed with Trackhouse, and they do have an alliance. So in the future, Zane Smith might possibly go to Trackhouse, but there's like 5 drivers that Trackhouse has signed right now, and possibly 3 charters next year. So we'll see about that. But he is technically signed under Trackhouse, but he will be driving for Spire this season, and he's finally making a good transition from Front Row Motorsports to Spire. There's maybe a tiny bit of an upgrade there, but I don't really see too much just because Spire, they haven't performed too well. But I'll give it a B minus, just because there is that alliance with Trackhouse, and there is potential that Zane Smith might be in the Trackhouse pipeline for the future. So I'll give that move a B minus, and then Spire is also getting Carson Hocevar, and I think I'm gonna give it the same thing, or I'll go up to a B, for Carson Hocevar, because we have seen the potential that he has in the Cup Series. Obviously, driving the 42 car last year for a little bit, was like leading the race at Bristol. Had a chance to win that race. Was very competitive. So he has a lot of talent and a lot of skill. So Carson Hocevar moving to the 77 in the Cup Series, I'm gonna give that move a solid B. So, Matthew, what are you going to rate these moves by Spire over the off season?
Well, Spire Motorsports, just like I gotta put them up there with Legacy Moto Club this off season as one of the more interesting teams to be following. Of course, they got the big Gamebridge sponsorship the middle of this past season, which they're pumping in a lot of money. They recently just bought Kyle Busch Motorsports. They bought the shop and there's bought the whole truck team basically. So Aspire Motorsports is also going to have a multi truck team as well. They're operating their Cup program in that new Kyle Busch Motorsports shop as well. And now they're a 3 car Cup Series team. So they're up there with Legacy Motor Club, but I will still give the edge to Legacy Motor Club in terms of big success this off season because I mean, being with Toyota, I think that automatically is a win. But Spire Motorsports, I would keep my eye on them as well because they have made some big moves as well in terms of sponsorship, getting more money in, of course, expanding their Cup Series team, Stern trucks, and hiring more key personnel as well in the top office. But as for Zane Smith, I'm gonna give it a B minus. I mean, of course, he's technically a track house driver, which I think, from what I've heard, the 71 car, which that's going to be the number for him. I think there's Spire Motorsports is going to be still preparing that car. I don't think Trackhouse is going to prepare it on their shop, from what I've heard. Um, while we've seen the big moves they made, I still think Spire Motorsports is not up there yet to turn. I think they may have climbed up the ladder a little bit, but I don't think they're really that up near the playoff cut line. But who knows? Maybe they will. So I am looking forward to see how Zane Smith does. I'm going to give him a B minus. As for Carson Hocevar, I'm going to give it a solid B because Carson Hocevar, remember, his first Cup Series start was with Gateway. Of course, when Corey LaJoie drove the 9 car that one race. He was literally outrunning Corey LaJoie that when he was racing. He was in the top 15 with that 7 car. But unfortunately, brake rotor failed and didn't have the result to show for it. But then he was in the Legacy Motor Club 42 car. Keep in mind, that car was dead last in the Drivers' Championship points when Noah Gragson was in that car. That same car at Bristol, he was literally running in the top 5 of that car. The top 5, and he almost got a top 10 out of it. He finished, 11th that race. He almost got a top 10 with that car, which was absolutely impressive. And I think he can do something similar with the 77 car as well. Um, I don't think, like I said, I don't think they're that up there yet near the cutoff line, but I think that he's going to be much better in that car than what Ty Dillon did in that car this past season, that's for sure. So I gotta give it a solid B. Even though, gotta keep in mind, while I love Carson Hocevar's personality, such a cool guy. We met him in Martinsville actually. Um, he still has some maturity problems when it comes to making decisions on the track. We literally saw that what happened to Phoenix, so that's still a concern. But yeah, I gotta give it a solid B.
Alright, this video has gotten a bit long. Our videos usually aren't this long for those of you who are new to the channel. They're usually about 20 minutes or so. So we are getting pretty
Sorry.
long on this video, but we had a lot to go over and all that stuff. So those are our ratings for the off-season moves. Let us know what you guys think of those in the comments below. Give us your opinion. But we do have some news that I mentioned from the beginning of the video. So we are going to be rebranding the last lap. And what that means is we're going to come up with a new name, a new logo, all that kind of stuff. We think we have one in mind. We're not going to share it with you guys just yet. We're going to make sure it's the right one, design a logo, all that kind of stuff. Because if you go on YouTube and search different channels for the last lap, there's like 4, 5, 6, 7 different ones. There's like a F1 one that has like 30,000 subscribers or something. So we want our own YouTube channel that has its own name that we could build up ourselves. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I'll definitely post an announcement on my Instagram and Twitter about that when we make that announcement. So the links to our social media will be linked down below for that announcement whenever it happens. We're hoping to get it done before the Clash. So by the time the season starts and we upload our weekly videos, we'll have that rebrand ready for you guys. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. Matthew, do you have any other closing thoughts about the video, about the rebrand, anything like that before we can finish up?
I don't think so. Other than can't wait for the can't wait for the class. It's coming soon. It keeps getting closer and closer by the weeks. So looking, can't wait for it.
Yep, the Clash
Oh,
is. Oop, go ahead.
by the way, do you see Kyle Busch's new sponsor, Rebel Bourbon? That's gonna be my new celebration during whenever he wins. Hopefully the Daytona 500. Yeah, what amazing sponsor, amazing new sponsor.
Yeah, Kyle
Sorry, I
Busch
had to
getting a
play
new
that up.
sponsor, and he got a new paint scheme was unveiled today with a sponsor that's already been with RCR. So that was pretty cool that they hopped on for Kyle Busch as well. Our next, well, I don't know if it'll be our next video, but we will have a 2024 seasons predictions video where we'll have our drivers to make the playoffs, make some bold predictions about some teams that might win, some teams that might not make the playoffs, stuff like that. So that'll be coming pretty soon for you guys. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss that, along with our social media pages, which will be linked down below. Thank you guys again for all of your support last season. We're excited to get 2024 started, but we will see you guys in the next video.